Brown Stadium on the banks of the Ohio River. Tonight, hosted two of the NFL's most explosive offenses, the undefeated New England Patriots and the suddenly struggling Cincinnati Bengals. Next on Monday Night Football.
Ocho Cinco's gonna give you a show.
Monday Night Countdown is delivered by UPS.
I believe I heard a little Bruce there in the beginning. Born to Run might be a theme tonight in the Queen City. Cincinnati Chili might need a little extra kick with the high-octane Patriots in town. There it is inside of Paul Brown Stadium. Just a three-wood from Tom Jackson's house. Carson Palmer getting ready for perhaps an aerial duel against Teddy Bruschi and that veteran, rock-hard New England defense. Monday Night Football. This should be fun. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Countdown. Are you ready for a shootout? Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Berman, Keyshawn Johnson, Bill Parcells, Tom Jackson. Mort will be with us. Thousands to come. We got our guys at Cincinnati in a minute. We got 90 minutes to get you set for the Patriots and the Bengals. Now, providing our soundtrack tonight, still glory days for the boss. Music from Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band's new album.
Ooh, so band I recognize.
There you go. Things. We also got a little Matchbox 20 tonight. So all that stuff is happening. So with some rock and roll going on, we're at the quarter pole pretty much. Wow. How do we size this up? What do you see, Tom?
I watched yesterday, and I like to think that knowledge is power. You saw Coach Wisenhunt of the Cardinals. He went up against Big Ben. They beat the Steelers. Coach Spagnuolo used to be the linebacker coach for the Eagles. He moves over to the Giants. 12 sacks later, they take care of Donovan McNabb. You look at the Atlanta Falcons, pretty good knowledge of what Matt Schaub is capable of. They beat the Houston Texans. I'd be videoing everybody around the league. I'd have a video library, and nobody could make me give it up.
Well, I think for me, it's not one thing, it's four teams. And when you think about the teams that I'm talking about, you're talking about the Carolina Panthers, the Baltimore Ravens, the St. Louis Cardinals, St. Louis Rams, and the Tampa Bay, not the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I done screwed that one up. But you talk about the offense, these gurus that they have, none of them are putting up enough points to win. And that was the San Diego Chargers.
I want to give you guys a little quiz tonight. Chris, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this team leads the league in sacks allowed. They've turned the ball over the second most times, and they have the third highest number of penalties in the league, but their record's 3-1. Got a name for me?
I was going to say Chicago because it sounded like a
Their
horrible
record is
team.
3-1. The antithesis of what we used
not
to
exactly
think
Parcells football.
winning.
Is
That's
it?
right. The Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
I don't see they're doing it with mirrors.
Mitch Ryder maybe playing
Detroit Wheels, right?
You know what I find? Now, how about this? Okay, there's 8 divisions, right? Hello, there are 8 divisions. So, 4 first-place teams from last year: San Diego, Chicago. By the way, they had the best records in the conference last year. Philadelphia, and New Orleans. They're in last place already. Oops. Well, all is not completely upside down in the NFL. After all, the Patriots are in command of the AFC East. 3-0 with the league's top-ranked offense, top-ranked defense. They can't be that good, can they? Look at this. Red zone. Hey, you know, the opponents have been there 5 times. They've scored all the time. How about this? Bill Belichick challenges 0-3. You can't win games losing every challenge. And as far as the coin flip, they're lucky to get 1. They're 1-2 thus far. Apparently, they don't know their heads from their tails. Yeah, right. Yeah. We worked long and hard to come up with a list of a few Patriots' weaknesses. Now to another group of guys who have very few weaknesses, if any. Our crew in Cincinnati. Stuart Scott heads it. Good evening, Stu.
Boom, like you said, man, 4 division winners and one other playoff team from last year already with 3 losses. And then there are the people are already saying they could go undefeated, New England Patriots. Emmitt Smith, Steve Young, at 13-3 and 14-2, your best ever. Y'all never went undefeated.
No. Never got it done.
Never got it done.
Never got it done.
Never
But you
got
know
it
what?
done.
I'm not sure you want to get it done.
You don't think you want to
You
get
really
it done?
care. I mean, really, as long as you get the Super Bowl and win it.
I bet the 1972 Dolphins care. Now, when you talk about these Patriots, man, and you talk about what they are doing, what can the Cincinnati Bengals, who are having a disappointing season, do to stop all of that? We're going to go undefeated talk.
Well, I don't know what they can do to stop this undefeated talk, but I tell you what, the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm trying to figure out which defense is going to show up. The one that forced 6 turnovers in week 1 against the Ravens, or the one that gave up 51 points against the Cleveland Browns. I'm a little confused. This team is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Which one is going to show up? I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to show up tonight.
Well, for the Patriots, the secret is to have a great pregame meal and get from the hotel down to the stadium without getting hurt.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and then getting their shoulder pads, make sure Tom Brady's got all of his pads and everything so they can get out and warm up on time. I mean, really, this team is almost flawless. If you had to pick at them, you'd say, well, they're 0-3 on the challenges, but also you look at their 3 wins, Buffalo, Jets, and now Chargers. You look back at that win and say, maybe that wasn't the quality win that we thought at first. So, maybe they have to prove something tonight. But in the end, I think this season's boiling down to, just like in 94 or 93, it's Cowboys and 49ers waiting for the championship game. Whoever wins goes to the Super Bowl. Very much like this year, Indianapolis and the Patriots waiting for that championship game. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, and the rest of it is just background noise.
You know what, Steve? This Patriots team could be the best football team assembled since the 93 Cowboys. What do you think about that?
Well, the 94 49ers possibly.
Cowboys.
Well, anyway, the whole point is
Stop arguing.
it doesn't really matter because
Boys,
it's a
Go to your corners and stop arguing.
Colts, Pats, championship weekend. The rest of it, no.
Cowboys!
Hey, it's simple for the Bengals. Score 39 points. The Patriots have scored 38 every game this year. Exactly 1 year ago tonight in this building, the Patriots scored 38 to beat Cincinnati. So scored 39, Cincy, you're good. If you're expecting a defensive 9-6 game, you might want to cry in your skyline chili. Michelle Tafoya helping cover the game from the sidelines. Michelle, Carson Palmer came into this game with 9 touchdown passes, second in the NFL, second only to Tom Brady's 10. But why isn't it all smiles for the Patriots?
Well, there's a reason not to smile right now. We just heard about it. Lawrence Maroney is inactive, the running back with a groin injury listed as questionable on the injury list all week. When I talked to Lawrence during the week, he felt certain he would play, but he is inactive, and the Patriots have yet to name a starter in his place. Whoever carries the ball tonight for the Patriots, Bill Belichick just wants them to hold on to it. He said, we haven't faced a team like Cincinnati yet this season, and I asked him what makes the Bengals different, and he pointed to their ability to force turnovers. Since the beginning of the 2004 season, no team in the NFL has forced as many turnovers as the Cincinnati Bengals. We're talking 120 turnovers in 51 games. That's 2.35 a game. Already this season, they're averaging 3 a game, and that includes, as was mentioned earlier, the 6 they had against Baltimore in the Monday Night Football opener here at this stadium. So ball control and taking care of the football, very important to the Patriots tonight. As for the Cincinnati Bengals, Susie Colbert has their story. Susie?
Well, Michelle, you're talking about that defense, but that defense is pretty beat up. We'll get back to them in a moment. First, the headline for the Bengals, Mr. Durability, running back Rudy Johnson out with a strained hamstring. He's made 64 consecutive starts. In his place is running back Kenny Watson, who makes his 5th NFL start, first for Cincinnati. And this could be a good little spark for Cincinnati because Kenny is quick. Maybe he can get outside a little bit better than Rudy. And he has so much support from his teammates because he has been the ultimate team guy, usually playing on special teams. And as for that defense, the linebacking core has been decimated since training camp. Some of the guys up front don't even know who's behind them anymore. 2 starters in the linebacking core are out tonight. They only have 4 total on the roster. Stuart, that's not a good sign against the #1 offense in the NFL.
Sue's, ouch. How about this as a good sign? Ocho Cinco having some fun. He said Oprah called him. Steve Young didn't believe it. We're going to have to check his cell phone and check the incoming calls, man. I'm just saying. Coming up, Tom Brady. Whole lot of football sense, but what about fashion? A GQ cover boy revealed. Chad Johnson, his already eventful season of touchdown celebration. And Randy Moss, why has he been so far so great? Plus, The Big Blue defense rocked Donovan McNabb's world, had that dude feeling black and blue. How in the world could the Eagles allow 12 sacks? 12? Y'all got to stick and stay for this.
Big rebound game on Sunday night. After poor starts, either the Giants or Eagles could be 2-2. Michael Strahan getting him fired up. No Brian Westbrook. Hello for the Eagles. Eli Manning to gimpy Plexico Burris. Doesn't look gimpy here over Sheldon Brown, and the Giants lead 7-0 second quarter. That was all the offense needed. Michael Strahan, first let's get this business done. New Giant sack record surpassing LT, who was at the game. The original LT, Lawrence Taylor, for you youngsters. There he is. Coach remembers him a little bit. Then fumble McNabb, Kavika Mitchell falls on it, and it's going to be the Giants in the end zone. 16-0, they missed the extra point. But what a mismatch this was. Winston, no justice against Osi Umenyiora. And just every sort of sack, every sort of them. Bull rush, around the side, pushes him back. And that's just speed. 6 sacks for Umenyiora. The Giants get 12 to tie a team record, and they beat the Eagles badly, 16-3. Umenyora's 6 sacks, 1 shy of the single game record. Remember, they only started doing this the year after LT came in the league, 82. But Derek Thomas with the Chiefs against the Seahawks back in 1990 had 7. Umenyiora, another Derek Thomas game. And Fred Dean, a great pass rusher with the early Chargers, then 49ers, against the New Orleans Saints. So, I mean, maybe the Giants were taking on the Mets' responsibility and say, look, we got to do something to Philadelphia here, guys. We got to get back at it. I don't know. But in football terms, how can that happen? How can that happen, Coach?
Well, you know, Philadelphia runs the West Coast offense. It's a 5-out receiver. Mm-hmm. They want to get him out. They try to run their system. They ran into a big mismatch the other night. Osi Umenyiora against the rookie, or the second-year player with not much experience, Winston Justice. Now, I'd like to dispel. I've been listening all day to these people say they didn't give him any help at all. They made no attempt to give him any help, and that's not correct. You'll see here, if we take a look at the video, that there are situations where they're going to run a play-action strong. There's no linebacker blitzing weak. The center guard and left tackle are responsible for the defensive tackle in the end. They got 3 guys blocking 2. The guard doesn't get off quick enough to help Justice. You see him, he comes in, just overpowers him for the sack. Okay, now this is a little one-back situation right here. They're again sliding weak. This time, they come down inside, they have 3-on-2. The tackle doesn't overset. They're outnumbering these guys. The guard doesn't help the tackle enough. Gets off. Gets the sack late. The tackle makes the sack on this one. So I'm telling you, they've got 3-on-2. I don't know how many you want to put on them. It wasn't enough, whatever they tried to do.
You know, they went right back and got in the office at 4 a.m. working.
Hey, they're in there.
That just, I mean, yikes. What's going on here?
Well, I think that, you know, when you look at it, I think it was more the defensive scheme that the New York Giants put together. Tom Coughlin did a smart thing by going out and getting an assistant coach that's in this division, that knows these players in this division, and said, hey, I play the Philadelphia Eagles, I play the Washington Redskins, and I play the Dallas Cowboys. I need somebody on my staff that can help me with this. And he went out and got Spagnuolo, and he did a terrific job last night.
Well, and I think there's even a bigger picture when you start looking at the offensive game plan. I always talk about balance between the run and the pass. And when you take a look at it over the course of the last 2 years, in that left-hand column, when McNabb has started, you know, 6-8 record, but throwing the ball just over 60% of the time, running the ball under 40% of the time. When Jeff Garcia was in this lineup and they're 5-1, they were much more balanced. You take a look at that right-hand column. So I think that, you know, Donovan McNabb at one point in his career, he had that ability to make up for all that pressure he would get. That is gone now. And I still think at some point, granted, Westbrook out last night, but that's a 2-year look at what they did. I think that you've got to be more balanced.
No, I don't grant that. When Westbrook's out, the Eagles are a different ball club.
Wow.
I mean,
the
I know
most valuable player in football.
Best player in the division.
Could be the most valuable player on their team.
I'm just saying, when they're out, when he's out.
Well, yeah, he was out for that game, yeah.
You saw it. Well, more turning elsewhere to the NFC here. Tampa Bay sitting pretty at 3-1 with a big win at Carolina, but an ugly injury yesterday to Cadillac Williams. Will the Bucks have to drive somebody else at running back for the rest of the season?
Yeah, a torn patellar tendon. Certainly, they're worried about his future. They have Michael Pittman and Ernest Graham. They've done a good job, but this is news for ex-Patriots and ex-Bengals and Patriots fans, because the Bucks during the game yesterday actually called ex-Bengal, ex-Patriot Corey Dillon. That's what I meant to say. Boom. Agent Steve Feldman then texted Corey Dillon to ask if he was interested in the Bucks, and Corey Dillon's response to his agent was no. Apparently, Dillon has taken pretty good care of his money, enough so that he hasn't even filed papers with the league office to pick up his accrued severance pay, Boom. So no on Corey Dillon.
We're learning something here. Keyshawn is contagious. We're going to give him a vaccine here at the end of this because everybody's getting hurt here. As for the Panthers, who lost that game, of course, Jake Delhomme out yesterday. David Carr started. What's the status on Delhomme with that elbow?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of speculation. I mean, some of you saw Jake Delhomme hurt in that Atlanta game. Anytime a quarterback just goes down and holds his elbow, much like a baseball pitcher, you say, it's got to be surgery. And, of course, they were saying, no, it won't have to be surgery. Then finally, later in the week, he went to some doctors. They said surgery is a possibility. We don't know if it's ligaments. We don't know if it's bone chips. Delhomme hasn't thrown the ball since he's had this injury. Today, he admitted surgery is a possibility. Again, they don't know when. Their bye is October 21st, Boom. Now, this has not necessarily come without warning, Boom. I was told that last summer, Jake Delhomme was never practicing two-a-days during training camp, and on Fridays in season, they would often give him most of the time off to let Chris Winkie run it just to rest that elbow. So this is not a shock to them.
Well, of course, Delhomme took him to the Super Bowl. They would do better with him in there. We hope that it's not surgery. We'll see. Thank you later. Mort TV continues later on in this program. Revenge is sweet for Dante Culpepper. Do coaches Ditka and Parcells believe in the resurgent Raiders? And also coming up, the Cincy defense. They've been offensive. Why haven't the Bengals been able to fix their biggest problem? We head towards Monday Night Football. October 1st, a year ago, same field, the Patriots were at the Bengals. Now, I would say the Patriots went 3 and out twice. The Bengals drove the length of the field twice, but only got 2 field goals. So in the second quarter, 6-0 deficit, Lawrence Boney Maroney, then rookie 11-yard touchdown run. The Patriots led 7-6. Then all of a sudden they rolled. Brady, the guy no longer blowing the horn for New England, that Doug Gabriel for a touchdown. And the Patriots, after a slow start, went on to cruise over the 38 points in that game, too. And they scored, that's all they do is score 38 points. At any rate, starting with that game since then, comparing the two teams, obviously the Patriots record and the Bengals records are different. They obviously both score a lot of points, but points allowed is the Bengals almost 24 points a game, starting with that loss. And turnover margin, which the Bengals relied on 2 years ago to big margin, they've only been +2 words, New England, among everything else they do, except for winning the challenges for Belichick. They're +13. So let's go look at the Bengals defense. Marvin Lewis, obviously defensive credentials outstanding. He didn't forget things, Bill. Why hasn't he been able to fix the Bengals defense?
Well, and looking what's happened here, in the last 5 years, in the premium rounds of the draft, the first and second round, top 64 players, the Bengals have drafted 6 defensive players in those rounds. Only 2 of them, Madu Williams and Jonathan Joseph, the corner, both secondary players, are playing for them, are starting for them. They don't have one guy from any of those drafts playing on their front 7. Now, that's not good news.
Yeah, and I would tell people who are fans of the Bengals that if you look at that, and Coach is right on target, you know, Odell Thurman and David Pollock, if they were in that lineup, one suspended, one injured, would they be a slightly different football team? I think yes, but he had an aggressive defense in Baltimore because of the personnel that they had up front. Now, this Bengals defense, because of personnel, they play a little bit more base and keep you in front of them, keep the plays in front of us, and hopefully offensively we're going to score a lot of points. I don't know if that's the formula for success tonight.
And I certainly can understand the frustration that's going through Carson Palmer's mind, or Chad Johnson, or anyone on that offense. You put up 66 points over the last couple weeks and you can't win a football game, much like the old Indianapolis Colts. They put up a lot of points and they couldn't win the games. Now finally they have a defense that's halfway decent, halfway solid, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. And they have to get that defense fixed, and Marvin Lewis has to do something, or else they're going to have to score more than 66 points to win a football game.
I'm going to turn it around a little bit. Let's throw that Cleveland, that circus out for a minute, 51-45. The two games, the opening game against Baltimore and the last week against Seattle, in the red zone, a lot of Cincinnati touchdowns are long. In the red zone, twice in those games, only got a touchdown 1 out of 2. That's not horrible. It's not a lot of stat, but don't you need to be, if you're a high-powered offense, better than 50% in the red zone to give your defense some help? Something to think about if we look, right? Red zone, you got to score better than that.
Way better.
So
field goals aren't going to work.
And boom, because you mentioned that game, they have to play with that attitude rather than the one that they played with the other 2 weeks. I mean, they played with great attitude that week 1 game against Baltimore.
Well, with more on the home team, the Cincinnati Bengals, here's Bob Holtzman with a Teams at 20 report. Bob, good evening.
Good evening, Chris. When this weekend began, Chad Johnson led the league in receiving yards and TJ Hushmanzada led it in receptions. The problem is the Bengals haven't had much offensive production from anyone else. And Carson Palmer told me this weekend, you can't beat a defense with 2 wide receivers. He's putting it on himself tonight to spread the ball around and get more guys involved. One thing that may help that is running back Kenny Watson will start tonight in place of the injured Rudy Johnson. Watson brings more versatility and more speed to this offense. He was a wide receiver at Penn State, and Palmer said we're so confident in his versatility, we actually have plays put in tonight where we will line up Watson at wideout. Chris?
All right, Bob, thank you. Who is that guy? Coach Parcells, Coach Ditka, boiling point. Do they think Matt Leinart has a right to be frustrated? And 2D or not 2D? That's the question. Tom tells us which defensive players impressed him on Sunday the most. Then, Patriots, Bengals, Monday Night Football.
Don't worry, darling. Baby, don't you fret. We're living in the future. None of this has happened yet. None of this has happened yet. None of this has happened yet.
Let the media divide them to make this a bigger issue. And here we are, Matt Leinart quoted today after a big win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, quoted today on yahoo.com, quote, "If I'm a franchise quarterback, play me and let me stumble. I know coaches want to win now, but I don't understand it, and this switching back and forth is almost worse than getting benched."
If you are a franchise quarterback, remove all doubt. Make it no question that you're the man who should be on the field that can lead this team to victory. Right now, I like him, but he's not the man. The best man for this job is Kurt Warner right now. Why? The ball comes out of his hand, period.
It's a new coaching staff. They're trying to get established. And coaches are very selfish. They're going to play the guy that gives them the best chance to win. One guy's 5.7 per pass attempt with 53%, and the other guy's 70% with 9.5. Now do the math. That's 4 yards per pass attempt greater.
This is the first time since I don't know when they won 2 games in a row, so I would shut up.
I think Wisenhunt's message to the team is, hey, we want to win right now. But let me ask you this. Is Wisenhunt doing a good job in communicating? Because obviously this is a young quarterback who seems hurt and confused.
Well,
communication's overrated. Chris, come on.
He opens his ears, he'll figure it out.
That's right.
Promise?
Yeah, he'll get it.
All right, Matt, relax then. Now, Lane Kiffin was on the Southern Cal staff when Matt Leinart was the quarterback there. He's the head coach of the Oakland Raiders. I don't know if he's 29, 30, no, he's about 32 years old. They're 2-2. They're tied for the AFC West title, one of the surprise teams. Be honest. What did you think when Al Davis hired Lane Kiffin?
It's Al Davis's history. You go back to John Madden, Tom Flores, John Gruden. That's what he's done. He felt like they needed a little help on offense, and so he took a young offensive guy. That's what he's done in the past. I like the guy. He's got a good coaching pedigree now. Dan's a pretty good coach.
This guy said basically what I was going to say. Coming out of SC with Pete Carroll, good pedigree. He's a young guy. It's his history. He's done it all the time. Here's the thing. When he first hired him, initially you might say, well, okay, he got a bargain, right? He might have got a bargain with this guy. But I tell you what, this guy is doing the right thing. Why? He's running the football. He's got them playing better defense they've played in about 5 years out there. Things are getting better. I'm not going to put him in the Super Bowl, but they're getting better. They're going in the right direction. They know how to protect the quarterback this year.
Well, his father's a pro coach, so this guy's been around pro football all his life. He's not intimidated by these guys.
And speaking of Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, real quick, Dante Culpepper, he was only 5 out of 12 for 75 yards yesterday, but he looked good. You think they just ride him here?
I think they do. I told you at the beginning of the year, this might be the comeback player of the year right here.
Well, hey, listen, he was my player, pick to click last week. He was my guy to make it, and he did. He went back to Miami and frosted.
5 out of 12 for 75 yards.
Who cares?
He's not going to be
5 touchdowns. He accounted for 5 touchdowns. 3 running, 2 passes.
DeMarcus Russell will be playing in December. You watch. End of discussion.
Journalist, Mike.
Media.
This week's, thank you, Mort. Coaches this week's GMC player, defensive player of the week nominee like a Russian election. Khrushchev, the winner. It's obviously OCU manure. Think you'd have Donovan McNabb's vote. 6 sacks. Stay tuned to SportsCenter after the game to vote because, you know, your vote counts. We bring Tommy in now. Eagles still in search of justice on their offensive line. The defense never rests. What players and plays stood out Sunday for you?
Well, boom, let's take a look because we had some guys who had some outstanding performances over the course of Sunday. First, the Chiefs defense is going to seal the game. Derek Johnson hits Phillip Rivers. Rivers is going to fumble the football, picked up by Tyrone Breckenridge, and he is going to take it to the house. Chiefs win 30-16. Then we have the Eagles and the Giants. This is not a replay every time you see OC hitting Donovan McNabb. He had 6 sacks on the night. 1 forced fumble. Giants had 12 sacks, tied an NFL record. Historic night for the Big Blue. Seahawks and the 49ers. Julian Peterson led the Seattle defense with 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. They manhandled their division opponent, the Niners, 23-3. The Bears and the Lions, this doesn't surprise me. Brian Griese picked off by Keith Smith, and he is going to take it to the house. They scored 34 points in the 4th quarter, also an NFL record. And then Atari Bigby going to get an interception right there. Great job of keeping the ball off the ground. Green Bay improves to 4-0 over the Vikings. And finally, Adrian Wilson. Remember I said at the beginning of the show, knowledge is power. Coach Wisenhunt knowing Big Ben, picking him off in the end zone. The Cards go on to win 21-14. Big day for everybody on the defense. And as you know, Boom, the defense never rests.
Yes, I know that. And now, Tom, watch this. TJ to TJ. You say Hushmanzada, I say
Hushmanzada.
There you go. You're listening. There's a guy that can certainly ring up, make some defenses fret, that's for sure. TJ Hushmanzada warming up in Cincinnati. Still to come on Monday Night Countdown. Does stealing signs really make a difference in the NFL? Wait till you hear some of these accusations. We'll be back.
Featuring music from Bruce Springsteen's new album. You know, the Patriots also have a few bosses this season. Tom Brady with his 10 touchdown passes. Yo, how about Boss Moss? 22 catches for the Freak, 5 touchdowns in 3 games, and the man in charge, Boss Belichick. Patriots have won their games this season by at least 24 points. Boss Belichick is the only coach ever to wear a cutoff gray hoodie and have the 2nd highest playoff winning percentage ever behind some guy named Vince Lombardi and win 3 Super Bowls in 4 seasons. But instead of all the chatter being about a Patriots team that could make it 4 and 7 seasons, a lot of talk radio is humming about Spygate. The league fined Belichick $500,000 and hit the Patriots up for another $250 large for illegally videotaping Jets defensive signals. Boy, and I thought George Clooney's new movie Michael Clayton was drama.
And that is the ball game. Patriots rolling over the New York Jets.
The Patriots caught breaking NFL rules yesterday.
Cheating, which is what this clearly and blatantly was.
Visual evidence supports the suspicions.
Until we get a ruling from the league, if there's anything more that I have to add to that.
Commissioner Roger Goodell promised stiff sanctions. Yesterday, he delivered.
You're going to rob Peter, you got to pay Paul.
Everything that's happened is in the past. It's been ruled on. It's over.
This story may not be over.
I want all your videos. I want all your notes. I want everything associated with your video department, says Roger Goodell.
Just like that. All the videotape evidence gone.
Looks like the Patriots, for now, are safe, but still, the commissioner's keeping his eyes open.
Belichick said, let's move on. I'm not so sure that Cincinnati Bengals fans are moving on. We give him an A for creativity. Guys, let's say for the sake of argument that the Patriots, Brady throws 38 touchdown passes, they go 14-2, Moss catches 22 touchdown passes, and they win the Super Bowl. How will Spygate have an impact on what could be a ridiculously great season?
They're going to have a great season, but I think the Spygate influence for me is what back on 2002 when it looked like the league for me was going to devolve into a bunch of selfishness and showboating, and then came the Patriots, the no-name team that came out in the Super Bowl. They were the epitome of team. They renewed my faith in football. No joke. I can't tell you how much I embraced what they did. And now they've got this Spygate, and it puts a pall over, for me, it's like at the end of the year, I'm going to be wondering, what were the effects? What did it happen? That's
Even
the
you. I mean, not
that's
just
the
as a
nefarious
fan,
part.
even you.
That's the nefarious part of this whole thing. It's like, what influence really was it? Was it really, obstruct? And that's the hard thing. These are my guys. It's not like the Detroit Lions or some other team that hasn't won for a long time. It's the Patriots and all that they represent.
But Steve, you know what? It's the fans, it's the media, and it's 4 weeks now. We're in week 4. So as a player, you sitting back saying to myself, man, will they let this thing die? I know the Cincinnati Bengals right now are not thinking about Spygate because, number one, you still have to stop these players. And the players are focusing in on what they need to do tonight. And that is to stop Tom Brady and to stop Randy Moss, regardless if Spygate is still out there.
Yeah, but if Reggie White knew that you were going to run right up the gut and he knew it was coming, would you care?
I trust Aaron Williams was going to block him.
Would you
I
care?
trust Larry Allen and Mark Tourney was going to get in front of him.
I think you'd care.
Well, guys, the league did find him, as I said. They also took away a future first-round draft pick. So they determined that the Patriots were guilty of espionage. But they also said that the Patriots did not use the information that they got in that game against the Jets. They said they did not use the information against the Jets for that game. Do you believe that?
What did the league do to determine that this information that
they said they didn't use it
was not appropriately used by the Patriots? You just don't know. Technology today will give you the opportunity to advance information as much as you possibly can. And plus, the Patriots probably did not use it against the Jets, but they were probably planning on using it when they played the Jets too.
Well, once you decide to cheat, what do you think it's too much cheating to actually use it in the game? I mean, they've already decided they're going to do that. Think of a Super Bowl. Take the first half, video all the coaches, see what the defenses, collate them for the defensive calls, come in at halftime and say, Coach, you see this call, this is going to be the blitz. And then you go in the second half of the Super Bowl and you got it worked out. Why is it that all of a sudden you'll cheat to go get the information for another game and it doesn't seem that hard to do it in game.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You're right.
And I know Coach Parcells, you have something about this whole situation.
Well, Steve, there's always been a lot of gamesmanship in football. If you can recall back to your playing days, there was a rule that mandated that if someone's headsets malfunctioned on the sideline, until they were repaired, the other team had to put their headsets down and couldn't communicate. Now, you guys, the 49ers, I mean, Steve, your team, 2 years in a row with your infamous script where you script 15 plays and you talk about it the night before and you get it all rehearsed so everybody knows what to do without telling anybody anything. In 2 games in a row, 2 years in a row, mysteriously, on the first series that the 49ers got the ball, their headphones went down. Do you think that was a coincidence, Steve?
Are you a little bitter, Coach? I know you kicked 5 field goals to go to the Super Bowl one game, but we won't get into that. But how about when you'd open the west door of Giant Stadium and let the wind blow in when the field goal team came on for the other, going against the wind? What was that all about?
Steve, we had trucks under the stadium. We can't keep them there. We got to let them out. That's why we opened
the bottom line is, Coach.
I can't happen if the truck schedule's in concert with your field goal kicker. How do I know that?
Here's the big problem, though. We're talking about gamesmanship, and the stuff we're joking about here is gamesmanship. But what I worry about is all the rumors I've been hearing over the years that I thought, that's ridiculous. The Patriots are a tremendous team. Why do they need to worry about sending the locker room guys in when the opposing team is warming up in Foxborough to go look around for stray sheets of game plans, or that the quarterback system stayed on for all the way to the snap of the ball so the coach could yell to the quarterback that it's blitz or not. Those are the kind of rumors you heard that you thought, that's no big deal. That can't be true. And now you wonder, is that stuff true?
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Coach. Well,
gamesmanship versus cheating.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, see, Steve, you lit a fire there. You look what you're doing. You're getting Steve all excited, Coach.
Well, the trucking schedules are the trucking schedules. You got to let them out of the stadium. You can't keep them there.
Well, at least the tapes have been gone to the NFL.
You don't know anything about those tapes, do you?
Why? What are you implying?
I'm not implying anything.
Was the drop kick on that tape, Tom? Huh? You don't think my address came up on that? Okay, no. No, the answer is no. Now bring me into it. That's great. The truck schedule, I can't help, Tom. With more on the Patriots and Coach Belichick's reaction to Spygate, let's check in now with Sal Palantonio, Teams at 20 report. Sal, don't tell me you're in on the investigation.
No, but I got a funny little story about it, Boomer. Bill Belichick was so concerned about the damage that Spygate was doing in his own locker room that on a Saturday night in the team hotel before the game against San Diego at home at Gillette Stadium, Belichick brought the whole team together and basically apologized and said to everybody, this is all on me. I want everybody to know in this room that no player had any involvement in it. And then he said, I have a special guest for you. And he brought in Boston comedian Lenny Clark, who stars on that FX show with Dennis Leary called Rescue Me. In fact, Bill Belichick has been on that show. And then Lenny Clark roasted Bill Belichick, Spygate, and Eric Mangini. And I'm told, Mort, that the whole show was not PG rated.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't. Now, you know what's interesting? That's funny, but there's been some people in the media and around the league upset with the commissioner, Roger Goodell, saying he wasn't tough enough on Bill Belichick and that he destroyed the tapes and files and notes that the Patriots turned over. What were on those tapes? Well, what was on them, the league saw exactly what Belichick admitted to once he was confronted, that he has been videotaping hand signals during his time there in New England, and going forward for the commissioner was more important than digging into the past. I don't think the commissioner, and this goes unspoken, was up for another scandal, that he is trying to protect the shield. Even that means ignoring the past, going forward with a warning to everybody, including the Patriots. Any more funny business, it'll be worse than what I did this time.
Well, let's get on to another subject here, although not completely off base here. More. Rodney Harrison, 4-game suspension. That ends tonight. He can play next week for the Patriots. Any update on other NFL suspensions that are lingering here?
Yeah, let's run through these, but let's start with Ricky Williams, who has sent Commissioner Goodell a letter, I was told quite an extensive and personal letter of appeal to be reinstated. That process starts today. The Dolphins still own his rights, and they have a vested interest because if Commissioner Goodell reinstates Williams in the next week or two, the Dolphins can actually entertain offers, trade offers for Williams before the October 16th trade deadline, and there are teams that may have some level of interest. The Bucs, the Patriots, Rams, and Saints come to mind. Now, Bengals receiver Chris Henry has an excellent chance for reinstatement from his straight 8-game suspension unless he has a big slip-up between now and November 5th. Titans cornerback Adam Pac-Man Jones has been very quiet for more than a month, but not enough to silence his prior actions. He has almost no chance for a reinstatement after 10 games. And Cowboys defensive tackle Tank Johnson had a chance to reduce his 8-game suspension to 6 games, but the slip-up that led to his release by the Bears has all but assured that he will serve all of the 8 games before reinstatement. And Tank will be able to practice soon, but he's not going to be able to play really